Okay. Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Chat on Sundays. This is a show to keep us all connected through all these continued lockdowns, so that way we share the love with all our artists and what they've been up to. Hello, Catch Your Music. And I want to say thank you to Catch Your Music for promoting this very, very much so. So all the promos that you see. Oh, she's coming on. Let me grab Shauna. The promos. So thank you so much, Catch Your Music, for all your continued love and support. And we have the amazing.
Hi.
Can you hear "Take Me to Heaven" in the background?
Oh, I nearly knocked my socks off hearing that. Hiya.
Absolute legend. Okay, welcome to Let's Chat, Shauna Jensen. Tonight is absolutely an honour. You are an absolute star, an icon. I call you a legend. Your career spans more than 4 decades. You've toured the USA, UK, New Zealand, and Australia. You've worked with some of the biggest names in the music industry. You've appeared on numerous stage productions on live TV and have been the voice behind hundreds of TV, radio, and movie commercials.
Correct.
And you've also toured with Australia's most famous rock star, yay, Jimmy Barnes.
Yes, I have.
You are an icon. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Oh,
How are
thank
you?
you. I'm good. I've got my beach glow. I went and sat in the sun today. It was just so fantastic to see everybody out, you know, having picnics and enjoying themselves and knowing we're allowed to do it. And it was really fantastic. And I feel good today. Yeah, I feel good. How about you? You look gorgeous.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. I think it's a bit of a filter on the Instagram. But
I look back in the dark. That's my filter. I always look better in the dark.
It's been a while. Now you look gorgeous in the dark on the stage. You're absolutely another level. Your career, as I said, is legendary. And I have to say, again, it's an honour for tonight. I haven't spoken to you since the radio, that chat that we had probably a couple of years ago.
Well, cheers, dear.
Cheers, babe.
And cheers to everybody out there. I can see a few of my friends online. Hello. Yeah, look, this afternoon when I came home from lunch, having lunch out by the beach, I turned the television on late this afternoon and there was a program on about Mojo, who were an advertising team in the 80s, who changed the face of advertising in Australia. And I sang on so many of their ads. And I did see that documentary once before. And you know, when you're doing it, when you're in it and you're doing a lot of commercials, a lot of jingles, you don't recognize that you're actually making history. And when I do one of my cabaret shows, I actually do a medley of some of the ads that I did. It goes for about 5 minutes, and there's a sort of snippets of all these ads, and so many people know them. And I would say I don't know any ads that are on television. Mind you, I don't watch a lot of commercial television, but probably the only ad that springs to mind that is memorable is boating, camping, fishing. It's BCF and fun. That's the only one that's stuck in my head. Don't ask me why, because I hate camping. I hate fishing, and I'm okay on a boat as long as it's glamorous. I don't know, isn't that weird? But, you know, you don't realise that when you're in it, you know, I used to do maybe some on good weeks, I'd do maybe 3 days a week. I might do 3 commercials, and they could be television. They might be TV, radio, and film. So you'd go in there, and there was lots of great singers, and yeah, we had so much fun. And I would come home and my daughter would say to me, "What did you do today?" And I'd go, "I don't remember. Something about toothpaste, maybe." You know, I didn't kind of take it too seriously, but I wish that we had residuals like they have in America. We don't have that here. So you get paid a flat fee. and you don't get paid every time it gets played like they do in America. If they did, I would own this house that I'm living in at the moment, you know, but that's okay.
And we're talking about, there's one that I can never forget, David Jones. There's no other store.
There's no other store like David Jones. They're the best in every way. Blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely amazing. I'm going to ask you now, what is it that inspires you, and how do you remain inspired over those 4 decades? What is it?
I don't know if I think it's just something that's inherently in me, and music has kind of existed in my genetic maternal line. My grandfather on my maternal side apparently was a very good singer. And my mother's sister, my Auntie Angela, who I bear her name is my middle name. She was a quite well-known opera singer and sang at Covent Garden. And my daughter is an incredible singer. And one of my nieces is a beautiful singer. My sister was a good singer too, but she didn't want to take up that profession. But it's just, from a very early age, I couldn't imagine myself doing anything but singing. And it's not an easy road to take because, you know, I'm the perfect example of not everybody makes it. You know, you have to judge your success by your own accomplishments, and you know, you can't kind of look to other people and go, oh my God, I want to be as successful as Madonna. I mean, certainly you can aspire to that, but it's not meant to happen for everybody. It's, you know, you've got to be pretty lucky for that to happen to you. So there have certainly been times when, so you beeping or me beeping? There certainly have been times in my life where I've found it really hard to keep going, you know, to want to keep doing it. But then I get off at a gig and I go and I sing, or, you know, I do something and I sing and I forget about that thought. That thought's gone, you know, usually pretty quickly. And it's not, you know, the life of a musician is not an easy life. And, you know, you certainly don't want to have to go and do other things. And I was lucky in that early part of my career where I was doing a lot of jingles. I went from doing Jesus Christ Superstar into doing jingles. And from doing jingles, I went into doing backing vocals on a few albums here and there. And then, as luck would have it, you know, I did backing vocals on Jimmy Barnes's first album, Out of Cold Chisel. And then he took me on the tour with him. And so I toured with him for on and off for 30 years. And then when I wasn't touring with him, I was touring with Richard Clapton. And then I did a tour with Noiseworks. And then I, you know, did their album and did a tour with them. And so it's a thing that just kind of kept rolling. It doesn't happen so much now. I mean, of course, now, prior to COVID, I think I probably would have looked upon myself as being semi-retired. You know, I don't work as much as I did. There isn't as much work around, and everybody wants young, pretty singers in their band doing backing vocals. They don't want old bags like me. It's truth. True story.
Oh, yeah. Ageism in women in music. If I mention that, I mean, what goes through your mind? Should there be change?
What goes through my mind is that it's an incredible lack of respect. It's an incredible lack of respect from the musicians. That's right, Paulie. I am spilling the hot damn tea. The misogynistic musician is alive and well in Sydney. I'm not saying that all musicians are misogynistic, but there is a level of it. And I was having a conversation last year, the beginning of last year in January. I went to a blues festival and I was having a conversation with an old friend who's a male musician and very straight up, lovely guy. And I said to him, you know, I don't know why I don't get asked to do tours anymore, because I'm in great voice. I can sing the shit out of anything. And I don't know why I don't get asked to do tours anymore. And he said, because you're old and fat and they want young, pretty women on the stage. I said, but they're old and fat. They've got grey hair and they're old and they're unattractive and they've never got out of the 80s. So why are they, what is that? And he said, it's the way of this, it's show business, baby. And that's it. And so you have to rise above it, and you have to create your own reality. And the reality that I have created and the life that I've created for myself is that I do what I want, and I don't do any gigs that I don't want. I don't want to do. People say to me all the time, oh, why don't you, you know, you live on the Central Coast, why don't you go and do a gig in the bar at, you know, the Leagues Club? And I'm like, no, I don't want to be a singer in the corner singing horses and K-San. I don't want to be that person. I'm not that person. And so I choose not to do that. And I create the work that I want. And I've always done that. I've always been from one thing to another, to another, to another, to another, and all those things have made me the singer that I am today, because I have had all those experiences. I've sang jazz, I've sang blues, I've sang backing vocals, I've sung in front of thousands and thousands of people, not just with, you know, people like Jimmy Barnes and Noiseworks, but on my own, doing things within the gay community, you know, not, you know, like the opening of the gay games, there were 30,000 people there. It was not a small crowd. And doing parties where I'm, you know, singing in front of 8,000 to 10,000 people at a Mardi Gras event. Those are big things. And I wouldn't be able to do those so confidently if I hadn't had 30 years of experience with Jimmy Barnes, because he afforded me the generosity of being on that stage with him. And I sang duets with him, and I, you know, toured with him and did all those gigs with him. And even though he didn't mention me in his second book, which I'm not happy about, just between us squirrel friends. Hey, Sylvie Palladino, mwah. Les Mac, mwah. Hello, and Charlie Bear, mwah.
Well, hi Mary, Yanni.
Oh, Mary, hi.
Les from the bookshop Darlinghurst.
Yes, we love you, Les. Oh my God, Les sent me so many great books when I had my leg operated on almost 2 years ago. And Les sent me some great books. Love you, darling. We've been friends for a long time. But, you know, look, ageism is a thing that exists in every part of the arts, I think. But in music particularly, I mean, I just was watching on social media people bagging out Madonna at 63, standing up there at the VMAs, looking hot AF in a corset, and people were going, oh, well, she should, no filters, oh, yeah, you're looking your age, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, because she's a dancer. She broke the ceiling for pop music, and still people are bagging her out. And people will bag you out. Oh, well, she's not as good as so-and-so, and they're not as good, and, oh, well, she's really old, and she's lost it, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And I just turned my nose up at it, and, you know, to everybody, you know, you've just got to be your authentic self. Yeah. And that doesn't mean, Michael, that you don't feel pain and that you don't feel rejection, because you do. That does happen, you know. You part of show business, you know, auditioning. I hate auditioning, and the rejection thing is quite difficult. And you know that ageism has got a lot to do with, you know, within the live music, with not so much, well, within everything really. You know, it's difficult for older actresses to get gigs because there aren't parts being written. And I watched, everyone's talking about Jamie last night, and there was a scene in the movie where they're he and his friend are having they're singing in the school canteen, and these three ladies are cleaning, and they said some turns into this big dance number, and the three ladies are probably about my age, and they've all got great hairdos, and they've dressed up, and I'm like, oh my God, that just was so good to see that. And you see older singers in America, you see older musicians in America, but here it's a very different story. Hey, Stu. Hi. So, yeah, that's, you know.
We're talking about rejection and so forth. How do you feel about the LGBTQI community where you're an icon? Do you feel like you've been supported enough?
No. To be honest, I think that when I was on television, when I was doing Pop Stars, and I was in people's lounge rooms every week, and I was beginning of the 2000s, and I had Take Me to Heaven out, and it was just going off all around the world, and everyone wants to be your friend, and everybody wants to you know, touch the hem of your garment. It's that kind of thing, you know. I would be at home nightclub and having a dance, and I might have had one or two halves of a drink, and people would make a beeline to me and want to tell me what they thought about what I said on television and what I should have said and what I did. But your presence is there, and as soon as you fade out of eyesight, the queens are on to the next thing. And I think in the LGBTQIA plus community, particularly in Sydney, a lot of it is run by the same organisation. And new people come in and they want to have the young stars. They want to have this person. They want to have that person. Oh, let's get this person and let's get that person. And they forget about the history. And I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about they forget about the history of people like Cindy Pastel and 3D and Amelia Earhart and Portia Turbo and the older drag queens and other singers, and, you know, Mary Kiani, and, you know, they just want the young hot and that is really frustrating. And so all you can do is just kind of try and make your involvement in those things, make your presence felt, you know.
I know.
Catcher is asking any stories on stage you could share with us all.
Yeah, share a story.
I don't know, Catcher. Well, good or bad? There's a million. I'm writing a book. Well, no. Look, I tell you, I've had some fantastic experiences. I've had, you know, I think one of the best experiences was singing at my first time I ever sang at Mardi Gras. And I had just learned how to meditate. I had been away and done a week with Deepak Chopra, and Deepak had taught us to set goals and to meditate on what it was that we wanted to, and blah, 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 blah. So I'd followed all these steps, and I had just done Take Me to Heaven, and it was getting played everywhere, and it was really exciting. And Mardi Gras, and I had in my goals, I wanted to do the 2 a.m. show in the RHI at Mardi Gras singing my song. So I get a call from Mardi Gras, and I go to have a meeting, and they said, well, one of the first things they said was, it won't be the 2 o'clock show. It won't be in the RHI, and we don't want you to do Take Me to Heaven. And I was like, huh? But I had learned that when you're trying to manifest something, it may not manifest the way that you want it to, but it will manifest in the way that's meant to be for you to have the best experience. And so they said, oh, we'd like you to do a duet with a diva. She was coming, but she's not into the idea of doing a duet, but we'd like you to do sisters doing it for themselves, but she's not into that, so forget about that idea. So it'll probably be after Frankie Knuckles in the Horden Pavilion at 8 a.m. And I was like, great, fantastic. And then I got a call from Philip Diamond, who was running the Harbour Party, and he said to me, are you the woman that sang Take Me to Heaven that Paul Goodyear played at Pride on New Year's Eve? I said, yes. He said, would you like to come and play the Harbour Party? And at that time, the Harbour Party wasn't involved with Mardi Gras, wasn't being run by Mardi Gras, it was a separate event. So I said, and we'd love you to do Take Me to Heaven. So I was like, yes. And I was down at the site of Mrs. Macquarie's chair doing a site walkthrough. And I got a call from Mardi Gras, and they said, Adiva's agreed to do the duet, so it will be at 2:00 in the RHI. And I was like, wow. And so I got to do Take Me to Heaven, had this incredible experience walking down Mrs. Macquarie's steps in the days when the Harbour Party allowed you to sit on the grass and be on the side of the steps. And it was a bit like being in the Muppet Show, because people were just like, Shauna, 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 Shauna. And I'm walking down in this like regal sari thing that Jacques Chong had made for me. Shauna, 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 Shauna. And I went down, I did Take Me to Heaven. And then the next week I did Sisters Are Doing It For Themselves. And it was around the time of Moulin Rouge. And so Adiva did her song, This Is My Warning, a final warning to you. And she was dressed, she's a big, solid black woman. And she was dressed like a man in black and red and gold and with a big top hat. And she had all male dancers, and they were dressed in can-can outfits, leather, and it was fabulous. And I was dressed as a madam in gold and red and black. And I had all girls dressed as boys. And I was on a rise, and she did her song. And I sat back there, she was finishing, and I knew the song was coming up, and I went, I created this. And the Revolve came around, and Maz Images took a picture of me, and I have it in my archive, and I know exactly what I was thinking in that moment. And it was an incredible experience, and I have done several Mardi Gras shows since then, and they've all been great. Nothing like that first one. That first one was just was incredible. It was incredible. So I hope that was a good story for you, Katja.
Thanks for music. And now, talking about Mardi Gras, Sydney World Pride 2023. I saw Matt Atkinson is on joining us. Hi, and Dion Tai. I just want to say, would you like to perform at the 2023 World Pride? Hello, we need to.
Well, duh. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, I read something the other day about expressions of interest and everything, and there was something about, you know, we will have gay, you know, the Sydney LGBT, we'll have Australian LGBTQI icons and blah, blah, blah. And I thought, well, I hope that I might get a look in, you know, that would be really great. I would love that. And, you know, I look at things like Mardi Gras. You know, they've slipped up a lot as far as lesbians are concerned. And especially, you know, the older lesbians and the older generation. It all seems to be marketed towards under 30s. And I think that there needs to be a broader perspective looked at, because we're here and we're all ages. And, you know, I hope that that's what they do with Pride 2023. I would love to do that. In fact, I'm working on some new music, so hopefully by then I'll have a little bit more out there.
Matt says hi. There you go. Matt works at World Pride. There you go. He's heard it all. Matt has been doing wonderful things.
He's a beautiful man. Matt is always, he's been one of the people who's been consistent in always making sure that when he was working with Mardi Gras, always making sure that I was looked after, which was really great, you know, really, really great. So thank you, Matt. I don't know if I've thanked you enough. I'll thank you now. But yeah, you know, life.
Well, you know, you're still in high demand after 4 decades. Let's face it, Shauna Jensen. You do an amazing cabaret show. You do Aretha Franklin. You don't stop. I see you all the time. And I mean, what's happening with the shows? I know we're all in. Is there any hope?
Look, I have nothing booked. I have nothing booked. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, I think that possibly, you know, when the venues do open, there's going to be limited capacity, and you know, we'll be back to 4 square meters, all that kind of thing. The thing about singing is that because it's an airborne virus, there's this whole thing about singing in public, singing in an indoor space. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what new COVID restrictions are going to be brought in. Right now, I just feel that I'm happy that things are opening up, but I'm also a bit scared too. You know, I think we're all happy. Happy. Yeah, it's great. I think, you know, a lot of us feel like that.
Yeah, well, restrictions are easing, so this is good news. And Matt has just said hi. Was chatting to Maz Image last week too. She's very well, loving in Oxford Street. Loving in
Oxford, UK.
Yeah. With
her wife and her son. It's fantastic.
Well, you touched on new music. What can we expect? That's awesome. Because you let's face it, you own some of our club anthems. Absolutely. Wayne
Thank you. Yeah, I'm working with Wayne. He just discovered an old song that he wrote ages ago, and just was in the studio learning something, and his friend said, "Oh, what about this? Remember this song?" And he played it on the train back to his house, and he rang me and he said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" I said, "Yes, it's a great song." So we're going to redo that, and we're also writing something else. And me and Greg Gould are like ships that pass in the night constantly, and we keep talking about, hey, what about we have a writing night next week? And then something happens, and something happens, and something happens. But I'm sure that we're going to get to do that really soon. And you know, I would like to do a little Christmas album with just Bev Kennedy. Hello, Buzzy. I'd like to do a Christmas album with Bev, because the Christmas show I've been doing now for quite a long time, and it's really evolved into a beautiful show that's very silly and very beautiful. And Mark from Claire's Kitchen keeps saying to me, you must do an album. So we'll look at that in the next few weeks when Bev's had a bit of ill health, but we'll look at that when we can, and maybe we'll do that hopefully for Christmas. But I won't have anything out till next year.
Well, you'll be challenging Greg Gould, because he's got an EP Christmas. That is an EP he's working on.
Yeah, whatever.
It's a beautiful.
I love Greg. He is a beast. He is a recording beast, that guy, and he just does. He's got the magic touch, and he never stops. And you know, he's the ADHD of singers. He's just like constantly, hey, look what Boz has written for you.
Oh, this is beautiful. Thanks for the work you did for us Middle Eastern, Western European, first generation Aussie queers.
That's you. Talking to you.
Oh, is it for me? Thank you. Oh, I thought it was you. Oh, thank you so much. My pleasure. Absolutely.
Oh, thanks, Katja. Yeah, look, yeah, it's important that people have visibility, Michael. It's really important. That's why it's important that we see diversity in our performers. And I don't just mean by seeing people of colour. We need to see, more, we're such a multicultural country. I mean, I'm a half Greek, and we need to see more representation of our European, Middle Eastern, cultures represented within the gay community. And so that's why what you do is so important, because your voice and your experience of your story and writing that story, it gives somebody that you don't even know hope. And you know what? When I was doing Beauty and the Beast, which I did for about a year, and I used to think there was always a lesbian question or a gay question, always, every time I was on. And I thought that was really good. And I felt a bit tokeny, but I thought, oh, well, that's okay. And then one night I was out, maybe a year or two, I don't know, within a year, and this beautiful young man came up to me at Home nightclub, and he said to me, I've been in Sydney for about a year, and he said, when I lived in the country, Beauty and the Beast was on 3 times a day because they used to flog it on Foxtel. It was on Channel 10 and Foxtel a couple of times a day. And he said, and what you used to say about being gay made me know it was okay, that I was okay. And I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe that I had influenced somebody to let them know that it was okay. And we don't know it. And I remember also being on Beauty and the Beast, and one of the panelists, it was El-Bacha, challenging me because I had said it was important that we identify as what our sexuality is, or, you know, there wasn't much talk of being non-binary or anything like that in those days. And she kind of said, well, I don't introduce myself as I'm Mrs., you know, I'm El-Bacha and I'm a heterosexual. And I said, but I don't introduce myself and say, oh, I'm Shauna Jensen and I'm a lesbian. But I am, when I'm in this situation, wanting to talk about it because it's important, because we need to be visible. We need to have a visibility in our culture, in our community, so that people know that this is normal. You know, this is the normal. We are the normal. The only thing that's normal in life is cycle on a washing machine, really. You know, really. Oh, thank you, Katja.
It's great. You're amazing, Shauna. You've helped so many lives over the years. You probably don't know it just by being Shauna Jensen and just being just authentic and beautiful and true to who you are. And I know that you love and adore your LGBTI A+ community. They adore you, darling. You're an icon. No, you are. You're an absolute icon. I love you so much. You are a legend, absolute legend. It's simple as that.
A legend in my own mind.
You're loved. That's it. You're just loved, and your work is. I have so respect for you, darling. So much respect. And
thank you.
Your achievement is absolutely
groundbreaking. Thank you, Michael.
Okay, babe. I just
thank you. Look, it is hard to, as you get older. I mean, I'm in my 60s now, and it is harder as you get older. And you do less work and you're less visible in the community because you're older, because I've let my hair go grey. You know, I'm not trying to look like I'm 45 or 50 because I'm loving the age that I am. And, you know, you can tell a woman by the way she wears her hair. And that's the way I am, you know. Oh, that's probably too old. You wouldn't understand that ad because that was an old one.
Legendary Mrs. Jensen, you're right.
Look, it is difficult to see yourself through other people's eyes, and being a performer, you know, I used to teach my students when I taught at university that we have to do it first for ourselves, what we do. In order to be authentic, we have to, and what I look upon my job is, it doesn't matter whether I'm singing I Just Want to Fucking Dance, or whether I'm singing Take Me to Heaven, or whether I'm singing I Say a Little Prayer for You or Natural Woman. I have to tell it from my perspective, and I have to tell the story. And that's what I am. I'm a storyteller. And that's what singers are. We're storytellers, musicians. And it's very difficult to sometimes continue to feel inspired to tell that story when you feel invisible in the community. You know, it's quite difficult. But you just got to pull your finger out, tell yourself to snap out of it, and snap out of it and get on with it, you know, and just, you know, put your big girl pants on and move forward, because what else are you going to do? Can't sit back and kind of go, oh, nobody likes me anymore. But sometimes I do feel like that. And you know, that's just being honest. Sometimes I do feel like that. But then, you know, like I did a live stream a couple of weeks ago in August, And I had the best time. I literally sat here like I'm sitting at my table now, played music, sang songs, told stories, had the best time. And the people every single person who watched it contacted me and said, oh my God, it was like I was in the room with you. I really needed it. I felt so great. So I'm going to do one next week.
Yeah, next week. What day? What day time?
I think I might do it on Friday. Friday at 6 o'clock. That seems to work well for me.
Okay, there you go.
What is Kat saying? Yes, you reach one. It's better than none. Shine on the thanks, Kat. And David. Hi, David.
Can I just say also, you haven't stopped since lockdown. You've always shown the love and the light through your work, through all your streams. So you are the leader, and you haven't stopped, darling. Just so I want to say thank you for cheering not myself up only, but everyone else that watches your streams.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
You are definitely a leader with that. You were one of the first.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge. It's quite difficult. Like it's and I love you and miss you too, David. It's a challenge to do the live stream because, you know, I do all the preparation for, you know, a day or so ahead. I get all the tracks together and I've got 3 screens going and I've got the light and I've got the thing and I've got the wine and I'm trying to get the vibe up and people come on and you do the thing and you tell the story and then it's over and I'm in my lounge room by myself.
Mr. Paulie, we love your live streams, Shauna. There you go.
Thanks, Paulie. Love you. Yeah, it's a weird old life we're living at the moment. The live streams. I didn't want to do too many. I did a few last year. I was doing probably one every couple of weeks, and then I thought I'll just do one a month because a lot of people were doing live streams and. I think there was a bit of an overload of live streams going on and I didn't want people to feel like I was begging, you know, because you do ask for tips. There certainly is a part of it. And I don't ever have an expectation that anybody is going to tip me anything. I just do it because I love it and I want to put some joy out into the world. And last week I put a song out. I don't know. I had my hair up in a ponytail. I just got back from the beach and I sang, what was it? You've Got a Friend. Just downloaded a backing track and went, oh, here we are. This is for everybody. I want you to know you're not alone. And people were like, oh, my God, it's just what I needed. It's so lovely when you get that kind of feeling back from people, feedback back from people, because that's what it's all about for me. It's about bringing joy. Bringing joy. Joy, unspeakable joy.
There's a lot of silent people out there that are your biggest fans. They're silent, but they're your biggest fans. That's what I found out over the years.
Well, I wish they'd come onto my live streams.
I'm sure they will. You're absolutely amazing, as I said, Shauna. I just want to. You also mentor and teach music. I know that. And you, what did you do outside of music? What does Shauna like to do outside of all this?
Sit on the couch, watch television, go for walks with my dog. I go to the beach when I'm not in lockdown. Even in lockdown, I like to walk on the beach. And 2 years ago, I had an operation on my ankle. It was major surgery on my ankle, and I feel like for 2 years I've been sitting with my leg up. And all those people that said they put 10 kilos on during lockdown, that they lost 10 kilos, I found the 10 kilos that they lost. But what I like to do is I do like to hang out with my friends. I like to, you know, travel and I like to crochet and I like to listen to music and read, you know. Just things, normal things, cook. I'm a bit sick of cooking now, though. Fuck. Sick of it.
I love you. And by the way, happy birthday to your daughter, Bex.
Oh, thank you.
Recently.
Yes, ISO birthday.
There you go. And, okay, so I know you love Aretha Franklin, but is there anyone that you would love the desire to work with?
I would love to have a sing with Shaka Khan.
Oh, there you go.
Love to have a sing with her. Love her. I love Rita Ora. Oh, not really. You know, not really. I don't really kind of aspire to things like that. I did meet George Michael once. I always knew I was going to meet George Michael, and I thought that he was going to be my best friend, but he wasn't. But it was great to meet him. It was really good. I had dinner with him one night. It was really lovely. Oh, Matt, no, I don't do vegan baking anymore. I did have a vegan baking business for a couple of years, and that was very successful, called That Vegan Lady, and I made cupcakes and cakes and savoury pies and things, and I did markets, but I don't do that anymore because it was too much hard work, and when I had my ankle operation, I had to ditch that because it was just too hard. And then you kind of go, oh, God, I can't be asked doing all that market setup and bump in and bump out and all the baking. I loved the interaction with customers. I loved that. But, obviously I could talk under wet cement with an apple in my mouth.
That's good. It's good to talk. This is your show. I'm honouring the one and only.
Yeah. So you know what? I like hanging out with my friends. I like going to see music, and I like hanging out with my grandchildren. I've got 2 grandchildren, and I love them, and they're in their 20s though now, so they're not babies anymore. But yeah, that's my life. It's pretty simple.
And Ruby Rose Management has just joined in. Hello, Ruby Rose.
Hello.
And I was going to ask you, okay, now, I know you're an old school, so how do you feel about the internet in music business these days?
Well, it's part of music business now. I think there are good things and there are bad things about it. I think that one of the good things about it is that, people can make music in their lounge room and put it up without having to go through the machinations of a record company. I think that's really good. I think that the streaming of music without paying for it is not good. I think that people should always pay for Spotify. Even though the artist doesn't get very much money. But if you like an album, you should go onto iTunes and buy it. Or, order a CD or a vinyl. Because that's when the artist is going to make money. And especially if you like an artist and they are releasing music on their website, I think it's best to just go through. And I know a lot of people don't like having CDs, so there's always an alternative that you can do to buy the music. I think it's important to buy the music, because it's a bummer that people only get 0.1 cent or something. It's stupid. Stupid.
Absolutely. Ruby Rose agrees with you. And I love the old CDs. You remember the old CDs you used to open up and the photos and the words and all that?
Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love having those little, the CD, the packages. And even in vinyl, when you'd get the album, you would open it up and there'd be lyric sheets and pictures and all that kind of thing. But look, I got rid of all my CDs because they took up too much room, but I kept the CDs. I got rid of all the cases, put them in a CD bag like the DJs used to carry around, and they're sitting in a cupboard. I hardly ever play them because anything I want to play, I have on my computer. So I just play it through my speakers. So I very rarely will put it a CD, and you have to have a CD player, of course. But my MacBook is so old, it still has a CD player.
It's awesome.
I'm the OG, mate.
Well, Lockie Lace has just joined in. He's someone to look out for. He's just put a love heart, one of the rising
stars.
Hey,
Lockie.
And there you go. He's a fan of your work, Shauna.
Yay!
Okay.
Excellent.
Rose asked the lyrics so we could actually sing the correct words.
That's right. I know. How many songs have you ever sung the wrong words to?
So many.
So many. I think I was listening to something the other day and I went, oh my God, that's oh my God, I've been singing that wrong for 20 years, you know? Crazy. Crazy.
And darling, for those aspiring artists out there or lesbians that are trying to make it through, I mean, do you have any words of advice?
Don't do it. No, I think I think that you just got to do what feels right for you, and you've got to persevere, and you've got to keep going, because you're going to get rejected, and you're going to get accepted, and your gender identity and sexual identity should have nothing to do with it, and you shouldn't let that be something that impedes you. You should embrace who you are, be the best that you can be, keep making music, and have a good time. And remember that you've got to love it. Ain't nobody gonna love you unless you love yourself. Can I get an amen up in here?
Amen to that, Shauna. Amen to that.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, that's good that you do this little live stream.
I just want to keep everyone connected. Like, you know, I miss you guys. I miss the arts. I miss the family that is, you know.
I know.
Us. You know, last time I saw you perform was actually at Newtown. And that was when I first met you. I was so honoured. You sung with Greg Gould. I think you got up there and did your own segment. Oh, blew me away.
Yeah. At that venue. Yeah, look, is there an artist I would like to work with? An up and coming artist? There's probably a gazillion up and coming artists I'd like to work with. I can't think of anybody right now.
Missing you both. Hoping to see you again soon, Matt Ackerson. Oh, I miss you, mate. Thank you so much for all your hard work that you do.
Yes, Matt. Thank you so much. Big hearts for you. Love heart.
So yeah, how could your fans stay in touch with your work, Shauna, if they wanted to maybe
you
collab?
Can follow me on Instagram, Shauna Jensen Music. You can follow me on Facebook, Shauna Jensen Music. Don't send me a friend request on Facebook to Shauna Jensen, because I won't accept it. It's just my personal page. And if you want to stay in touch with me, you can go to Shauna Jensen Music on Facebook and check in there. And usually what I do when I do my live streams, I was doing it. I had created a page called the Lezo Lounge during lockdown, but I'm using a different streaming site now, and it's better for me to use my Shauna Jensen Music page to stream from, because then I can see all the comments like this. So that's what I do. So you can go to Shauna Jensen Music, and that's where you'll see anything that I'm doing.
Well,
and
you know,
you're
absolutely a legend, darling. You're an icon.
You, darling.
Respect for you, and I love you so much. And thank you for 4 decades of love and more to come. I just wanted to say, Shauna Jensen.
Oh, thank you, darling. And thank you to everybody who tuned in.
Yeah, absolutely. And this will be put on Instagram as soon as we get off now.
Okay, darling.
Love to you, Shauna Jensen.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, baby.
Bye. Okay.
I'm trying to close this. Just trying. How are you? Okay. There you go.